Hello, my name is Phil Stickney. You know, if I was to say the word evolutionary Christian, you would think of that as really an oxymoron. And yet in today's mainstream Christendom, we get many Timothy Keller, etc., who do not believe in six-day creation. And I was wondering if you would just kind of talk about the big picture of that, because I know you'll probably get into the details of it if you talk about
Okay.
the big picture.
Well, I'll do the short. Here, stand and smile, and I'll do the short version, and I'll elongate on it. Whether or not the Lord's servants are all square and right on every doctrine throughout the centuries. In fact, if you put in Ephesians 4, it says there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. If you put the most famous Christians of all time, from Billy Graham all the way through to St. Augustine, and threw in, Wesley and Moody and a few others in between there is no way they would agree, except on some very core issues. And so what we have to realize is that disagreements on the let's say the charismatic issues, and even the prophetic issues, and even a lot of the creation issues are not sinking the ship of salvation. But it does make us wonder how they understand the rest of the Bible. So Timothy Keller, unbelievable servant of the Lord. Amen. Too bad that he does not agree with the Lord, because the Lord said in Exodus 24, in 6 days, I made the heavens and the earth and all that's in them. In the seventh day I rested, so you should do the same. There is no other way for an authentic Bible expositor to take that than God believed in 6 literal 24-day creationism. I don't know how he gets to that, but he's not alone. I mean, Dr. Dobson of notoriety that's touched so many families, and we could go on and on and on. But biblical creationism is biblical. God invented it. And in Exodus 20, he puts it in layman's terms. He pulls it out of the whole context of making age days like Genesis 1. Some people say, what is first day, second day? It could be ages or whatever you were talking about, the evolutionary ages. But God takes it at Mount Sinai in the Ten Commandments, and he says to them, your work week is to parallel mine. And there's no other way that 3 million people took that heard God speak to them. Then they knew that the sun came up, they worked, and the sun went down, and they stopped. And God said, the day began and the day ended, and I made everything. So the problem with that is, if we go a step further, and Phil, what I'd say is, when you get into sharing salvation, where did sin come in? Because to the evolutionary folks, they have these ages and all of you have seen the AIG stuff. They have all this stuff down here, and then Adam and Eve don't come here, and there's death and destruction and sin and decay and these humanoid kind of things, and all of a sudden there's Adam and Eve up here, and God says in Romans 5, that sin began with Adam and Eve. And yet we see all of this stuff in the evolutionary column of death and decay and everything else down here. So again, what I say is, and I don't know him, but the Tim Keller types have a defective hermeneutic when it comes to things that are socially unacceptable, such as creationism. And I understand it. And I'm not saying that I have any better knowledge of the scriptures than him, but they choose to not see things that would immediately torpedo you on Manhattan. I mean, people wouldn't even come to his church if they thought he was one of those kooks, because there's such baggage attached with creationists. You kind of have to have a shotgun in your back window and, be Southern almost to be like that in the stereotypical New York news mindset. And so I see him and others reaching a group of people. So I could go on and on, but I'm supposed to be short. And welcome home. I saw your Prius in the driveway. So when I drove by your house, we're neighbors. Watch out. Now that I live in Kalamazoo, I'm driving by a lot of your houses.